What's up guys, welcome back to Fancy Goldfish Fanatics. Today we are doing part 2 of the garden revamp, so make sure you stay tuned to find out more. Hey Fanatics family, welcome back. As always, check out all of those links in the description. Make sure to check out our Instagram and make sure to check out our sponsors, Jimmy Goldfish and Star Fisheries. So today is part 2 of the garden revamp. We're going to be heading outside and we're going to be getting on with the next steps to the garden. In the first episode, you saw us lay down the black liner, dig up all of the grass, move the pond and lay an extra set of stones onto the patio. Today we're going to be moving the pond back because it's actually been 4 days since the patio was laid and the pond was moved. So the patio is now set, so we're going to move the pond back. We're also going to be adding another strip of stones onto the pathway, so that is a little bit wider. We've got a bit more of a patio area, and also we're going to be adding some more rocks to the water feature to get that all sorted. And then probably in the last episode we'll be adding the gravel, doing all the final touches, etc, etc. So I'm just going to show you outside, show you what the state the garden's in. It looks like an absolute bomb site, but behold, by the last episode it will look absolutely great. So I'm just going to take you by the patio doors now and show you what it's looking like. So as you can see, we've still got the pond here and we've got all of this soil and turf to get rid of as well. So the pond is going to go back into this corner here. The patio is all dry now. And then you might be able to see right in the back corner or the back of the garden, we've got some more patio slabs and we've got some more cobbles and rocks to put around the water feature. So first job is to get the pond moved back in position, so we've got a lot more space to work with in the garden, and then we can get that bit of patio laid and then also add the rocks to the water feature. So I'm going to crack on with that now and I'm going to overlay the time lapse. So here you can see I'm just starting to drain the water out of the Fancy Goldfish pond. Currently the 2 Ryukin are still in there, but they will be departing us very soon. So I'm just rinsing out the blue bowl, which holds around 200 litres of water. So essentially this is a 60-70% water change for them. I'm draining most of, or the majority of the water down the mains drain, and then the 200 litres I keep behind will also hold all of the water for the filters and keep them nice and wet to keep the beneficial bacteria alive. I'm also making sure I remove any dirt and debris that's built up in the pond, making sure I can get out as much dirt as possible. Especially whilst I'm doing such a big clean, it makes sense to do that. So now the blue bowl is filled up and the rest of the water will just go down the drain. After we finish draining it, we will then be able to place it back onto the new set of patio slabs that we installed, and Dad luckily came along to help me do this. So I wanted to get all the polystyrene in perfect position, because after this pond's in place I don't want to be moving it again, ready for it to then be cladded in our new stone material, which we will see in the next episode. So right now I'm adding some dechlorinated water, pumping all of the water back in from the blue bowl, adding those filters in, and then introducing the fish into their final destination. And luckily and thankfully I won't be having to move them again. So right now just letting that water fill up, and then after this we can crack on with the rest of the work. I'm so glad that the pond move went smoothly and everything went to plan, as moving fish and moving tanks can be quite a stressful and difficult job, but luckily this was fairly simple as we didn't have to move it too far at all. So the fish are all back in, the water is now filled up and I can leave them to it and then crack on with the rest of the garden. So for the rest of the garden I needed to measure up some more slabs, as I wanted to increase the width of the path as you come into the gate. As you'll see on the left hand side, I moved my large storage box, which is full of all my fish stuff, onto the pathway, so it was out of the way of the garden, which gave me more general space to put the stones down. So I wanted to make sure this pathway was a little bit bigger to gain nice easy access to the garden. So right now I'm using the angle grinder to cut the slab so it will fit around the fence post. Please, if you're doing angle grinding, please don't wear shorts and Crocs like I am, and make sure you're wearing the proper protective gear, because it is really dangerous and I shouldn't have really been doing it in the clothes I was wearing. But here we are. So I'm just cutting the last slab that's going to go in the corner, and then I will be adding another slab into that slight corner piece to join it onto the main patio. So I'm going to actually move this liner out the way. I just had it down so the soil wasn't going everywhere, as the garden was becoming super dusty and it was getting right in the way. So next up was to start mixing up the sand and cement. Unfortunately, I didn't have a mixer, so I had to do all of this by hand, and it looks so easy on video, but it was such back-breaking and tiring work, especially in the 28-degree weather we were having at the time of filming. So right now I'm mixing up all the concrete or cement and sand. I personally should have put some scalpings down or a hard base below the slabs. However, I didn't have any to hand, and in the future, if this becomes loose or doesn't work out, then I will have to redo it. But there isn't much footfall going over these slabs, and the ground below was very firm and extremely hard to dig up due to having lots of large pieces of stone and rock work in it anyway, so I thought it would be absolutely fine. The slabs are pretty close together. I would have liked to have them a little bit further spaced apart, but that was my fault in cutting the last slab. Here I'm just mixing up a little bit more sand and cement for the mix to go under the last slab, and then I will be able to lay them all down in place. Now, I wanted to have quite a bit of a drop going from the patio so we had no settling water, and you can see I'm just standing and stomping on all of the patio slabs to get them down firmly into the ground. This was actually the day after where I had to add a few more slabs into the build area, so I'm cutting off a large triangle piece to go in between the pathway and the main section of the patio. As you'll notice in the rest of the video, the patio stones are really loose and I didn't put enough cement into the mix. So I could have easily trimmed this section out and say it all went to plan, but it didn't. So I'm just cutting another section of the patio stone, and you'll see now that I actually tried to break this off and snap the piece in half, unfortunately, which was really frustrating, but luckily it snapped down the middle, so when I finally managed to lay it, it didn't actually look out of place at all. So here I'm mixing up a super batch of cement and sand and water, and this was absolutely back-breaking. I reckon it took me about 20 to 25 minutes to fully mix this into a nice good mix. And I would say if you're doing this, make sure you get your ratios right. You do not want to be relaying the slabs that you laid the day before, because it is such an annoying process, and it actually took quite a long time and it was quite back-breaking work. So what I did is I smashed up all of that weak concrete and cement and sand that I laid the day before, smashed that all up, raked it all over so it was nice and smooth. The stones then had a really nice hard base to go over, put a huge amount of concrete down, and then relayed all of the slabs and added in the new ones. I'm really glad that I redid the slabs, because they would have come super loose in the future and it would have been a really annoying job of having to relay those in a couple of months time. But now I'm just quickly pointing all of the slabs, because this was the last batch of sand and cement I had, so I couldn't use any more. So I just wanted to get this all finished and done, and then I could let it dry for a few days before I was then able to walk on it. The pointing went really well. It didn't quite match in with the existing pointing, but I'm sure over the next couple of months the weathering process will take effect. And the last job here we can see is me laying all the new pebbles and cobbles over the waterfall. Now it does look quite out of place at the moment, but be rest assured, once that gravel all goes down, it will really blend nicely into the water feature. It just looks like a big volcano at the moment. But be sure to watch out for episode 3, which will be coming very soon, where we will finally complete the garden project. Thank you all for watching as always. Remember to keep those water changes up, and happy fish keeping.